Alright, I filmed this clip about 5 minutes ago, but I went through and like swept up everything, cleaned all the tools away. And it looks a lot better now, so I figured I'd refilm this and show you guys what's up. So tonight I finished up welding up all the holes in the engine bay here. There's quite a few. I was not expecting to do that many. I honestly didn't even count. So we got 2 there, 3. There's yeah, okay, I'm not even gonna count. Too many. They didn't turn out too bad. I dig them. I dig it. Some of these are gonna have to be body work just because the way the fender's shaped, and I didn't want to go through and warp any of this. But like all those holes were from the old coil and whatnot. The old proportioning valve was back there. We're gonna end up moving it lower, I think, because that's where the clutch master is gonna go. It sticks out of the firewall right there. And then just some other little factory holes. Left these guys because this is where the wiring harness runs, and then obviously you can just put a strap or a clamp down to hold it in there, and that's what I've been doing. So now, on to my favorite thing in the world, woohoo! Time to do a little bit of body work, which I was hoping to avoid, but oh well. Well, would you look at that? I actually got this engine bay pretty freaking smooth, and I'm happy with that. That thing looks sweet. As per usual, that took a lot more work than I was expecting, but I will say it was well worth it. I think I counted like a total of like 22 holes or something I had to weld up. I have no idea where half of those came from. And I doubt anyone will ever notice, and I doubt I will probably ever notice once the engine and everything is in there. But hey, looks good for now. So it gives me a nice peace of mind, and I dig it. So next step is to slap some primer on this thing, and then we can get to shooting some color. And because I suck at filming, I forgot to film a clip of this thing in primer, and I forgot to film a little time lapse of me painting, but that's alright. Sometimes you just get so focused on something, you forget to film. But behind me, you can see that this thing is orange again, and it looks pretty freaking sweet. I gotta say, it took me, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days to weld up all those holes, do some metal work, mess with the lip on the bottom there, and then obviously prep and tape off and paint, but definitely worth it in the grand scheme of things there. It wasn't that the paint was, bad or rusty or anything from before, and it was just kind of dinged up, and, might as well, do some things I've been wanting to do for a while, like weld up all those holes just to make it a little bit cleaner. Especially once that guy goes in there. So it'll at least all be nice and shiny for, well, I probably can't even guarantee a week, but it'll be shiny for a couple days at best, we'll say that. And one thing I did want to show you guys is the paint I used. No, honestly, it's just this rattle can stuff. This VHT Hemi Orange actually matches really well. Where's a good spot? Right here. It's hard to see in the garage, but obviously this paint here is all faded and whatnot, but you can see orange. It matches really well, especially, well, not through the camera lens. In person, it matches good. I dig it. And believe it or not, actually, yeah, the entire floor, door panels, and the trunk is all painted with this guy right here. And it sure beats trying to get some paint mixed up from a local shop, because they wanted like $200 for a quart or something, and I said, no, that's ridiculous. I'll go with, the $10 rattle cannon. We'll see how well it matches, and yeah, obviously I use that mostly throughout the entire of the car, so I dig it. It lasts pretty well. Obviously, it stands up to the heat too, which, it's getting kind of hot, on the inner fenders, but nothing crazy, but it stood up throughout the entire last winter, didn't rust or nothing, so I dig it, I'm happy with it, and on to the next project. Moving on to the trans tunnel and this torsion bar cross member here. I'd like to get this done within the next few days, that way I can go ahead and undercoat everything. But right now my plan is I gotta go through and cut out this. This was just kind of a rough cut, and then once we got the engine set in place, obviously I had to trim some more out. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim that. I just wanna show you guys kind of what we're starting with here, and then once that's out of there, I think I'm gonna put the trans in, and I just kind of think I got a couple ideas how I can attach this side to this side here and then make the tunnel flow, but it's just kind of hard to picture without seeing the trans in there. So behind me You see I got the car all tarped off and everything. Can't ruin that fresh paint. And I've decided that this is like a fortress. I'm going with the name Fort Freedom for it. I dig it. Cause look, you can just like crawl under here. It's like a little fort. Okay, besides the point. I got the trans tunnel here. All cut up. I ended up having to cut that hole a little bit wider on the driver's side just so it was center top of the tunnel. Not a huge deal. And then I got the torsion bar cross member here all squared off. I'm gonna end up making a plate, I think, to cover up that side right there, and the same thing on this side. And then maybe just get some flat stock and bend it to like an upside down U shape. Honestly don't know. Obviously you'll find out because that'll be the end of this video, but I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. So next up is to clean this mess up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and toss the trans in there with the cross member, and then just put a jack stand on the front so I can kind of visualize it and get an idea of what I'm gonna do. So after a lot of planning, thinking, and mocking up, finally got some progress on this torsion bar cross member here. I think I left you guys off as I had it trimmed all out and the trans was up in there. I can't totally remember. But since then, I went ahead and made little plates to kind of cap off the ends here. So just square pieces that went on both sides there, so that it gave me a flat surface to make these guys and weld them to it. So I just got kind of two horseshoe shaped pieces, had the trans up in there. I couldn't make them as wide as this piece just because where the shifter is, so I got the front one all the way at the front of this, and then this one's about 3/4 of the way back, which kind of worked out there. So bring it inside the car and show you what it looks like from there. And inside the car, this is what it looks like. Pretty self-explanatory. I just want to show this because I know a lot of other people probably are wondering what to do, because this is kind of a tricky situation. I've seen some guys where basically they just make a square, which I didn't really want to do. I want to make this as round as possible, so then when I go to make the tunnel piece there, hopefully it makes it a little bit easier. It's going to be tricky to do because obviously this is higher up than this, but that's the reason it had to be cut, is for the trans. So I don't know, we'll get to that when the time comes. That'll be something fun to make. But the next step for this is I'm gonna make little braces that are just gonna go in between it here, just kind of some flat pieces. I might do 4 across the top and then like 2 on each side or 1 on each side there. Not totally decided, but hopefully that should give this thing enough strength. Just finished welding in all those little cross braces. Let's see, I did 5 across the top and then 2 on each side. So I'm happy with it. I dig it. I'm for sure going to make a cap. I'm not sure if I'm going to do one over the top because I might just make the floor go over it, or maybe I'll do a cap and then do a floor over it, or the tunnel over that, so I can weld to it easier. But I'm for sure going to be doing one on the bottom. I think it'll look flusher because, as you can see down there at the torsion bar, or the original cross member there, is obviously all boxed in. So I'm going to do that just so it looks a little bit cleaner, and then still undecided, but figured out what I got to do for the top still. So yeah, I went ahead and made a plate to cap off the top side, as well as one for the bottom side, and then I put the trans back in so I can start mocking up for the tunnel here. Then earlier I went ahead and made my template, and I cut out a piece here, and I just started shaping it, and I got it pretty close to where I want it. I've literally just been bending this around a fire extinguisher, trying to get the right angle and kind of tweaking it here and there by hand. I think it's pretty good. This is pretty flexible. This is 16 gauge, which is what the floor is, so you can bend it pretty easily. I think my plan is I'm gonna go ahead and tack it down on this corner here, because this back line follows this arch really nicely. I got that dialed in perfectly, so I'm gonna go ahead and tack that in. It's gonna slide, I don't know, maybe 1/8 behind this piece right here, so I can get it close to the shifter. So it'll be like that or so, is kind of what I get it marked out as. I'll tack this down, and then once that is down, I can go ahead and push the front down. The front will sit flush, and when that's down, then I can just kind of work my way out to the sides and kind of push it down as I go, just because I can't get it to hold the perfect shape right now, which isn't a big deal, but I'm gonna try to get this guy as flush as I can, but I'm liking that so far. So once I get this one in, then I'm gonna go ahead and make the piece for the back. Just kind of a quick idea of what I'm thinking right now is I'm gonna make a piece that's kind of like a U shape, so it'll be a box on the outside. I'm just gonna follow this line down, and then all the way across, and then it's gonna have rounded corners on the inside that'll follow the radius of the shifter base here. So it'll kind of be a plate that goes over this. I was gonna make little triangles with rounded corners to go in there, but I just think this metal is so thin, and if I were to just keep welding it and then grind it, there's not gonna be anything left. So I'll go ahead and do this, and that way I can weld it up from the backside. I think that'll be a lot neater in the long run. Then I still gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with this. I might just have it go straight, honestly, and then just do a rounded corner on the back, or I might come up and then try to do like a rounded corner and then like bend it up somehow and make it flush with this. I don't know. I haven't totally decided. One thing at a time for now. Finally, the trans tunnel is done, I guess. Obviously, I still gotta grind down all the welds here and make it look pretty, but all the metal work is done. Usually, well, I shouldn't say usually, I don't know, for some reason lately I haven't been, not that I haven't been excited, but like every time I finish a project, it's just like, I don't know, move on to the next one, don't really think about it, but for some reason I'm pretty freaking pumped on how this thing turned out. I don't know. I thought I wasn't gonna be able to make it, I guess, as good as it turned out, just because I never did something like this before. And I honestly just kind of winged it and went with what I knew. So obviously we got one piece here that follows the contour of that torsion bar crossmember piece I made. And then it had to kind of flatten out as it went up here, because obviously the tunnel flattens out. And I had to notch this here because this is the original 4-speed hump, which I did debate on cutting out or maybe like slicing it and flattening it, but I don't know, I decided not to. I'll probably end up regretting it in a couple months when it just looks ugly, because yes, it has bothered me for the past year and a half, but I don't know. Oh well, it'll stay for now, I guess. One day maybe I'll do something with it and make it flush, but we gotta get this thing going. And then on the back side here, looks pretty much the same. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I dig it. I'm not totally sure what I'm gonna do for a shifter boot yet. Really don't want to do a boot because this looks so cool, but obviously, as you can see, there's ground through there. So I don't know. Might do something that like just goes up to here, or like maybe just do one that's kind of on the base here that goes up to the handle, because with the grease in there, I don't want dirt or junk or nothing getting in there. So I've yet to decide what we'll do for that. Maybe like a rubber boot, or like one of those like shifter bag type deal thingies, you know, that like newer cars have. I don't even know what they're called, man. We'll figure that out. Oh, one other thing is I'm not a fan of how you can see the shifter's crooked, like sticking to the driver's side, which it's probably a lot more comfortable when you drive it. That's what my dad was saying. But I cannot stand how it looks. So I'm either just gonna, this is steel, so I can weld to it. I'm either just gonna build up with welds on the handle piece here and then grind it flush so it's flat, or make a little wedge. Not totally sure. Then I also kind of want to make it actually vertical rather than lean back, or at least make the angle of it not so far back. It's kind of what it looks like from the side, just because visibly it bothers me. I don't know. And then I was thinking, well, it's gonna happen, but I was just kind of planning out where it's gonna go. Is slidey boy right there. But I gotta get a posi for that to happen, and then disc brakes obviously on the back. That's down the road, but that just gets me excited thinking about this, and finally able to, you know, see the trans in here with the tunnel done. That's another pretty big step done. So that is going to be it for this video, I guess. I failed my little goal I set out, getting a video up every week, but some other things are more important, I guess. So just kind of been working away at this every night I can, and try to get this thing done as soon as possible.